Britain braces for 3 days of strike action across the rail, tube and bus networks. Once again, tens of thousands of workers are demanding better pay and work conditions. This comes as inflation soars to a 40-year high after the Consumer Price Index surged to 10.1% last month. But the Bank of England warns there's worse to come, predicting a peak of just over 13% this year. Meanwhile, the National Statistics Office says wages, excluding bonuses, have dropped a record rate of 3%. This adds to the UK's cost of living crisis as the threat of recession looms.
Well, once again today, most of Britain's railway network is suspended due to strike action from staff. This is all over a dispute between unions and the bosses of the networks when it comes to pay. Now, there have been several strike days. Negotiations have been ongoing, but there is still an impasse, and that is because yesterday's figures revealed in the UK that inflation hit the highest rate in 40 years, crossing over the double-digit threshold just above 10%, and that has been the barrier. The union bosses say that any pay rise must at least match inflation, otherwise it will be a real terms pay cut. The bosses, though, say that they cannot increase by that much, and that's something that the British government is really backing, because they say if we do see public sector pay rises across the board that are at inflation or higher, that will lead to a spiral which will put up inflation, though some economists and other groups dispute that. Now, this is the latest day of strikes. We've seen several already this summer. There will therefore be knock-on disruption tomorrow. There's also a tube strike tomorrow, then another day of strikes on Saturday, with then a knock-on on Sunday. So it won't be back to normal on Britain's rails until next week. Yesterday, we also had the communications workers balloted, and the mail workers in the UK have also decided to go on strike in the coming weeks, and there are now votes pending for the teachers, for nurses, for the firefighters as well. So we could see in the autumn the biggest wave of industrial action in the UK since the 1970s. Vincent McAviney, Euronews, London.